Good evening, Sound Engraver here. Your Monday night muse a little later tonight. I just got back from traveling. In fact, I just sat down. So I hope you guys are doing really well. Hello. And of course, if you can just say audio is good, visual's good. Yeah, I just sat down. And now I'm ready to relax. So I had a wonderful Christmas week with the prof. It was fantastic. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas season, a wonderful Christmas time. If you would go ahead and just say things are fine because I don't have any view count. In fact, I am just on StreamYard. I'm not even on YouTube. So I'm just going to roll with logging on YouTube. And let's see how YouTube is looking on my end. Just send word and okay, it looks like I'm live. It looks like 4 of you are watching, and let's see how the audio sounds. Okay, it sounds good on my end, so hopefully you guys are alive and well. So we've got Big Al, who says he's first. He is first. He is owed so much money, so many dollars. And Brian is second. Hey, guys. The prof is still traveling, so he probably will return. He'll probably be home within the next 15 or 20 minutes. So he is still on the road. Hopefully he's doing well. Melissa Harris with her picture. I'm glad. Yeah, actually it was 10:15. I pushed it, nudged it a little too late this evening. Looks like chat is active. We've got Wolf 10 with his "Oh Hey There" Sound Engraver, and it was nice to hear it on his stream. Oh, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was the Tuesday stream, which was really fun to listen to while I was working. And Big Al is good to go. And Netter, just messaged you, Netter, on Facebook. I do appreciate the fruit cake as well as that really adorable pop-up Christmas card. I thought that was great. And also those books. I do appreciate you and Troy giving me those gifts for Christmas. And I hope you had a really relaxing time full of good food and maybe hopefully some fellowship over up north. So hope you guys are doing well. Thanks again for your gifts. And Prof liked his gifts from you guys too. He really liked them. And I said, great, you can enjoy that when I'm gone. But yeah, he really liked your earnest gifts a lot. All right, good. Looks like Brian says audio's good. And Wolf 10 says lots of rain here. I am so sorry. Are you near the mountains, I think, in California? So hopefully you guys are doing well, staying warm this season for sure. Yes, it's true. Not on Christmas Eve. It was the Tuesday before. I think I was, the professor and his family, they have Wi-Fi just fine, but I was not on the internet at all, really at all. I just was chilling with family and playing video games, of course, hanging out with the prof. So while I had internet at my disposal, I pretty much wasn't on the internet at all. Just the good old Christmas times without any of this. And so it's good to be back on YouTube again. But it was a nice 5-day, 6-day stretch where I just was not on social media at all. And it felt, the days felt longer. The days felt so much longer, so much fuller, and it was great. So, yeah, kind of. Let's see. Netter says it wasn't so much earnest as it was helpful hints and his picture on each page. Oh, gotcha. No, he definitely loves those gifts. And Big Al says, giving the prof earnest stuff is like giving a drug addict crack. Yeah, it kind of has that effect. Video games, huh? What were you playing? So the prof actually earlier this fall got the retro box, and so Thanksgiving and into December I was playing Mario and the 7 Stars. I finished that game Mario RPG 7 stars. And then I finished Donkey Kong 1, and then I'm on Diddy's Conquest, Donkey Kong 2 with Dixie and Diddy. I made it to Toxic Tower, and then we had to go. But I'm just breezing through these games. Actually, it's interesting. The games took me longer as a kid, but I was better as a kid, so better at finding the secrets and the treasures. But as an adult, even though the gameplay is much harder for me, because I haven't played it in probably 20 years, a little over 20 years. The gameplay is much harder, but I can also breeze through it much faster. It's very strange. All right. Wolf10 giving away his location, which I won't post up on the screen. So anyway, let's just kind of have a casual chat, Let's just have, I don't know, just talk about New Year's, going into the next year, goals, if you guys have goals or resolutions. I have some artistic goals. People ask me what my New Year's resolutions are, and I don't have any this year. And the reason for that is I didn't really think about having any New Year's resolutions into this next year. And the reason for that is I try to, if I have a resolution, the traditional sense, in the traditional sense, if I have a resolution, I start in November. That way, when January falls, it's already habit. So I don't have to worry about breaking the habit into February. Now, I actually, for all the flack and all the ridicule that New Year's resolutions get, I actually think it's a good tradition. I think the New Year's, I think you've got 2 times in the year where we just reset and kind of reprioritize our lifestyle, our ways of thinking, maybe our schedule. Maybe there's a big change we want to make in our schedule. And I think New Year's is one of those times. The other time I always think is the first week, or maybe the first week of September, maybe the last week of August. August, September, that's the commencement of the academic year. It's a good time to just really start the year fresh, or start the fall and winter season nice and just nice and fresh. So I actually like the tradition of New Year's resolutions, but more often than resolutions is goals. I usually have goals, and that could be just projects I want to finish. So I don't know. I'll just say it as an impromptu what my artistic goals are. If you guys have any artistic goals or goals in general for 2021, just let me know in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, in the comments below. Like, smash that like button. I'm not going to be one of those people, on YouTube saying, in the comments below, and I like that video. Man, I maybe, if I get good at that, but I don't know. None of my favorite YouTubers do that. They just, they're what they're called, talking heads. I was watching this video from this channel called Video Influencers, and I used to listen to their channels, their videos, that channel, quite a lot, just to know the ropes about how to do YouTube. This is a side note, by the way. And they were telling all these people, all these channels with these videos, you might want to do this, you might want to do this. You got to have that B-roll animation, less than 10 seconds in, to get people engaged and get people paying attention. And I'm like, if no one's going to pay attention to me looking like this, then they might as well find something else. I don't need some animation B-roll to get someone's attention. If you guys could pay attention to me, just looking at my talking head. They call it talking head. It's like, oh, I only see from the chest up. I don't see anything else. You're called a talking head. It's like, well, most of my favorite YouTube commentary people are talking heads then. Anyway, that's a side note. Anyway, oh, it is my professor saying, hi, beautiful. He made it. He must be home now. Or just about home. So, yeah. Actually, yes. Oh, Jedi Master Zootopia is in the house as well. And I was just seeing a comment of Big Al. Your birthday would be a good reset too. I think that's a good idea. So, New Year's, birthday, and the beginning of the academic year. Brian Gilmartin says, I think it's less the resolutions than it is the people who make them but don't commit to them. I think so too. I really can't remember the last time I made a resolution. Now, actually, I'll make one right now. I'll make one right now. And that is, beginning next year, I need to get up earlier, meaning I need to go to bed earlier. So with the Professor Geek crowd and the circles, we're kind of night owls. And actually, I'm a little tired right now from traveling and having just a wonderful Christmas vacation with the prof. But I'm thinking beginning this year, beginning January, I need to probably go to bed an hour to 90 minutes earlier than I have normally been going to bed, and getting up an hour and 90 minutes earlier than I've been getting up. I have been going to bed quite late and getting up into the late morning. And one of the reasons is I teach in the evening and I just don't want to go to bed. I usually have dinner after teaching. So I'll stop teaching around 8. Depending on the commute, I might get home toward 9, depending on the day. And so I have dinner then. And then I work until maybe 1:30 or 2 in the morning, just on my music or writing. And my mind is quite active. My mind is quite active those hours of the night. In fact, I feel a little tired on my stream right now. It's 10:30. Probably around 12:30 or 1, I'll have a second wind and probably not want to go to bed until 3. So I think that would be a resolution for me, is to go to bed earlier. To go to bed, man, 1 o'clock would be really early for me. And so, and getting up around 9, I think that would be, 8:30 to 9. Everyone's different with their sleep window, but my sleep window is 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours to 8 hours. Anything earlier, I don't get enough sleep. Anything later, I feel just too much. But anyway, that is my New Year's resolution. So if you guys want to make a resolution on the chat, that'd be wonderful. And then we'll talk about goals as well. Wolf 10 says goals: self-defense training, more art, start a small business, move to a new apartment. That's a lot, man. That's a lot for 1 year. I would say self-defense training, so to keep practicing. Of course, more art, but you got to be specific. Like, what do you mean more art? Are you talking about building a professional portfolio? Are you talking about getting your art out there on a website or on a YouTube channel? What are you talking about with more art? Starting a small business, I'd have to see what that looks like. Are you thinking about selling your art, or do you have a family business you're learning the ropes? You're learning the ropes are you learning the ropes with different people, with family or friends? Moving's a good goal, I would say. All right. Big Al says, going to bed early, you are dating the wrong guy. LOL. Yeah. I would say that's true. Christmas time, we're staying up pretty late. Yep, that is true. Peter DeRose is in the house. I'm up all night usually working on my writing and coming up with various scenarios for the RPGs. I DM all the time, direct message all the time. Yeah, very cool. Some of us are night owls. Some of us, I get most of my cerebral activity at night when it comes to creative writing. But I would say I just don't like getting up so late in the morning. It looks like The professor and Al are already bickering. I miss you guys. I have missed listening to Al so much this week. It's like I miss the streamings. I'm sorry for missing your streamings, guys. I just was not on the internet at all. So I miss hearing the voices. So let's see. Big Al says new home. That's something I've been praying about. Try writing more content for channel. Yes, that's really good. That's a really good idea for the new year. What kind of writing are you into, Al? I'd be interested in. You don't have to be specific as far as characters or a kind of story, but the medium, is it art? Is it poetry? Is it short fiction? I'd be interested in knowing. Cool, good job for you, man. You bought a new condo. That's huge. Good job. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, online business mostly with my art once I figure out what to do with it. Yeah, very good. Brian says, not so much a resolution or a goal, but I'm thinking of, is it modeling my old Game Boy Advance SP with a backlit screen. I've seen people do it on YouTube and want to try my hand at it. I'd have to look at what that means. If you can actually be a little bit more specific, that'd be great. I agree with that. Well, I don't know where. I mean, you don't have to be specific, by the way. This is a public platform. I don't know what country you're in or if you're in the United States. Here's the thing. If it becomes, you're saying, want to get back into church, but COVID has shut it all down. What I would do is I would try to find a church that is open. That's not just online sermons. I like online sermons as an option. I think it's a fantastic option, especially if you are just sick, because we're in the flu season, we're in the winter season, and we're bound to get sick. And if we want to see a sermon online, that's great. But that is not the end all be all. That should not be the only thing. I think streaming online as a church should be an option. It's a wonderful option, but it should not be the main way to communicate. We just need fellowship. We just need to be in the church. We need to be in a space, especially if you are really hungry for worship, when you are really hungry, when your soul is really thirsty for that kind of worship. You just need to be in the physical space, especially with people who are like-minded in their faith. So that's important. So that's the first thing I would say do if you can. Second is if it really gets worse for churches, I'm totally proposing online house churches. Do it like they do in China, because that's going to be the way if it gets worse. But anyway, I'm not being cynical. It's the new year. We're getting into the new year. It's not the new year quite yet, but we're getting into the new year. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. The professor loves writing short stories. I think short stories are one of the best, especially for science fiction and fantasy. I love short fiction. I just wish, well, actually, I think we have a girl on the Facebook group page called Caroline Furlong, and she writes short stories. And she's been showing magazines with authors, peers. And I got to get into that kind of magazine, because Asimov and Analog, I haven't looked at them for a whole year, but they went south as far as nihilism and cynicism in their stories. And I couldn't do it. Just because the name Asimov was part of the short story collection, I was like, nah, can't read these anymore. So I have missed watching short stories or reading short stories. I gotta talk about my goals too, but I'm really just wanting to chat with you guys. It's gonna be a chat kind of back and forth with you guys, if you don't mind. I just, after traveling and having such a nice time, I'm just really relaxed. Professor Geek says, releasing The Fall of Mithrisis and the Blue Wonder Collection to Amazon and continue weekly Bible and book study streams. Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to the releasing of Fall of Mithrisis. I think that novella length fantasy kind of sword and sorcery feel, it's really good. It's really good, and I think it's much needed, especially with something original. And of course, the Blue Wonder Collection. I think that's very feasible, and I think 2021 is a really good year to do that. Really good year to do that. And of course, your streams. Building on that Bible Geek channel. Oh, as in modifying. Okay, got it. Thank you. I didn't know that was a word. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could work, but it's still not. Well, mass is a different function than just a normal sermon as well. You have to be physically there. I went to midnight mass with the prof, and it was, well, actually, it wasn't midnight. They moved it to 10, but it was beautiful. It was a very beautiful service. This is to post goals: buy all of California and Hollywood and bulldoze and demolish it and build a giant Walmart and superstores in its place. I think they deserve that, to be honest. So that's good. Peter DeRosa says, I've tried online mass and my parish is open, but it's very restrictive and such a hassle to go through. And I could still do confession at least, which is good, but I miss attending. Yeah, I think attendance is so important. But Big Al is also encouraging by saying he watches the church's mass each weekend. I write a lot of horror and sci-fi and fantasy short stories and novels. Good. I can't get into the horror, but you could use a lot of the spiritual, the Christian spiritual for something like horror. I can't do it myself. All right, so chat kind of slowed down just a little bit. So why not just talk about what I'm thinking of doing? So, go to bed early. So that's my resolution. So I'm not obliged to stick with it, right? But we'll start with that. Going to bed earlier, but starting at the New Year's, I still have all week to kind of veg and write late into the night. And then getting up early. I think that would be really helpful because I also read nonfiction in the morning. So after scriptures, I read nonfiction, and I haven't read a lot of nonfiction because I've kind of, I would read scripture and then go straight into composing. So for my artistic goals, as far as composing, I do want to get more albums out this year. So I have 3 albums worth of music. I pretty much have one of those albums done. I actually just need to raise the funds for the mixing and mastering side. So I've got my 8 tracks ready. They're pretty much ready to be bounced and sent off to the engineer. But because my income was reduced probably about 15 to 20%, I just don't have that extra cushion to even pay a very affordable mastering engineer. So I'm going to raise funds and see what I could do as far as giving codes, free music, or maybe some behind the scenes, whatever the person would want as far as content, and as my token of appreciation and thanks for supporting the campaign. So be on the lookout for probably some campaign or something like it in the next week or 2. I'm raising a bit of funds for mastering my album, and if I have some left over, that will go into the mastering of my second album. So I really want to do 3 albums, at least 3 albums this year. And I would like to do a Christmas album for next year, an electronic Christmas album. Maybe between 7 and 8 sacred pieces, but for electronic arrangements. So that's what I'm thinking. More albums this year. I'm not going to release a song a month like I did. It wasn't. It had its benefits, but the problem was, while I learned to produce something faster and get something released, which was great. I needed to learn that. I needed to show people that I could produce something quite fast. I was also not learning much as far as learning skills in composing, learning skills in Logic Pro, and especially learning skills in SuperCollider. So I have 3 albums I'd like to release this year, but maybe more depending on what's happening. I'd also like to get back into SuperCollider. I'm still working on granular synthesis. I took a week off, of course, with Christmas, so I'll be back into SuperCollider probably tomorrow and Wednesday. And getting into granular synthesis, trying to find some very effective percussive technique and sound design, and really get better at sound design with my music composition experience. So some cool sounds in SuperCollider, but use it as kind of a tapestry, as a musical structure in Logic Pro. So recording sounds in SuperCollider, maybe manipulating sounds in SuperCollider and Logic Pro, depending on the MIDI protocol, and working with that. I really want to get better at the ambient style, the ambient genre, the ambient music, the experimental. I love my upbeat stuff. I really will continue in my upbeat stuff, but more ambient, more down tempo. That's the style. And I'd really like to focus mostly on SuperCollider for that. If it's strictly Logic Pro, then that's another thing. And I won't complain about that. Sorry, there's some hair across my face. So getting more into that ambient, that darker tone, the down tempo, that will be my goal, to change my style. So my next 3 albums that I have will be beautiful, upbeat, nuance. This next album kind of sounds more like you'd hear from a game, maybe a computer game or a mobile game, or maybe even just a video game of some kind. So just a little bit more on that game, glitchy, fun stuff. And then my subsequent albums will be a little bit more upbeat and pleasant and got some delightful nuances for you there. But moving forward from that, once all that music is taken care of, I'd really like to do some ambient tones. I'd really like to do some darker percussion, darker sound design, a lot more otherworldly nuances. So that is building the skill for my musical purposes, my being a composer and my musical composition purposes. As far as, well, I forgot about writing. I was about to get into some education too, but my writing, I've got to finish my first installment. I'm so close. I'm on pretty much the last scene. I've been telling that to you guys. You probably, if you've heard my streams, you're probably thinking, she has said she's been on this last scene for a month. Well, the point is, I have to have this buildup into the last scene, and the buildup takes time. And then the last scene is ultimately going to take time because it's an action scene. And it's a pretty quick scene, but it's a culmination of a lot of characters' perspectives. And it's gonna be great, but I gotta finish the book. And then into this next year, when I finish this first book, I've actually got, I need to structure my second book, because I pretty much wrote this first book. I knew the story. I knew the story I wanted, but I pretty much wrote by the seat of my pants. It was, I think I said that phrase right. If I didn't, you know what I meant. Writing like you're flying blind, kind of. I would just write, and so I didn't really have an outline. But my next book and the following books, whether it's 3 or 4 books in total, they need structure, because I can't seem to go on forever. I do need some outline, some structure. So that's going to be for my writing, getting into the next installment in this next year, but also a novella as well. I have this novella I just need to finish. It's a thriller. It's actually probably going to be one of my darker pieces of fiction. It's a dark thriller, not really horror, but it's very, very intense. It's not horror at all. It's not horror at all, but it's very, very intense. It's very, very scary. So I gotta work on that. So that will be for my writing, maybe a novella, getting into my second installment of my space opera, finishing my first this year or end of this year. And then as far as education, reading a lot more nonfiction on history, world history, American history. And this, depending on where I'm going with SuperCollider, I need to get better in math. Got to understand sound synthesis via math. And that includes trigonometry, maybe a little bit of geometry, probably not geometry, trigonometry into calculus. That probably will be stretched into 3 to 5 years, depending. So that's my education. So those are my artistic goals. Producing at least 3 albums, 3 to 4 albums this next year. That would be wonderful. And supplementing my growth in SuperCollider and sound synthesis, and also finishing the second act of my space opera, or at least starting, because I need to do a word count on this first installment. It's embarrassing. I'm probably over 200,000 words. I got to pare it down a little bit. So those are my artistic goals. Oh, and of course, violin. I gotta keep practicing violin, and I'd like to play some harder literature this year as well. Wolf 10 says, I'm almost done with Fire and Blood, Game of Thrones, so getting back to reading, goal achieved. Peter DeRosa says, do you teach music or other subjects? I am a music teacher. I'm a contractor to different studios across the city. And my main topic is violin. So I'm a violin instructor. I can teach beginning piano. I could teach music theory. I could teach composing. But all in all, it's going to be violin instruction. I am teaching a Logic Pro class. I got to prepare for this class into this winter. I'm going to teach an 8-week Logic Pro class. I have no idea how it's going to go. But I know enough about Logic Pro to get people started, get students starting on making sounds and getting it ready for the mixing artist or the mixing and mastering engineer. So I will be teaching a Logic Pro class this winter. Nanners Network says, my resolution is getting my content edited and up on my channel. Video editing does not need to take a lot of work. I'm not a video editor. What I do, and I actually don't know, Netter, what you have. If you have a PC or Mac, I think this is Mac, but you probably could get Davinci Resolve on PC. I'm not sure. It's an open source video editor, and you can do a lot of cool things. And all I do is make sure it has a start point with a black fading in, a black fade in, and fading out, going black. And then if I make a mistake, then I just snip, 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 and I do some cross fading between if I need to for my SuperCollider demos, for instance. And that's it. That's all. And actually, guys, let's not, if we can, let's not include any political parties, like none, if we can, because I think iPipe, this lovely platform, iPipe. I'm calling, what, iPipe. I think they're getting pretty much hardball on us, and I just want to be careful with the chat. I'm extra careful. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll designate a video just on the problems that I'm seeing with this lovely platform. But let's actually leave like cultural, actual names of ideologues out, because I think they're watching us. So let's not do that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Davinci Resolve. So I mean, try to find an open source video editor and just snip away. It does not need to be perfect. I hope you're not hung up on your content just because of video editing. Video edits, they don't need to look fancy. They could be so simple. What people want is to be educated. I mean, that's people aren't going to see how specifically I timed that fade in between mistakes. Sometimes I leave the mistakes in for my SuperCollider videos. I mean, my older SuperCollider videos, the code is like this big, and you can hear my breathing and my mouth sounds, and everyone thinks it's great because of what I present. So I really hope you're not hung up on the content just for editing. Just get an open source editor, get that out of the way. You're going to be rendering videos in no time. Planning to do some art videos as well. I can't imagine how you would do art videos. Maybe you have like a camera on a table to do that. But, guys, I mean, we could talk about this too. I love streaming. It really does save my time. Like, instead of doing a fixed video, and one day I'll have the time. One day I will have the time to do better lighting. You may have seen some of my commentary videos earlier this year where the lighting was great, but it took so long. It took so long to record, and it took so long to edit. And I thought, I just want to talk about this stuff with no editing. Let's just talk and then be done for the night. And that's been so valuable to me. And I love streaming, and I love hanging out with you guys. But I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I love streaming. I love streaming very much. But if you want to grow the channel, you guys have to know. And maybe you don't want to grow the channel, but I'm going to be real with you guys. It's in the new year, and I'm going to be real with you. Your channel will only grow when you have fixed commentary videos. Streaming is not enough. And I don't know, I haven't done this yet. I don't suppose it's enough to actually snip what you have on streaming and to post it on your channel. It'll get some views. It'll garner some views, some public watch time. But people, I get a sense, and I love it too. People love fixed video. I love streams. I love watching streams when I can, but people by and large love the fixed video. So if you have commentary on art, I think some people on the professor's Facebook group page, I think some people are actually reviewing comics and reviewing books. See, book reviews, comic reviews, movie reviews, those things are what people like. That's where they give you that attention and that extra time. For nonfiction, I highly recommend Cigars, Whiskey, and Winning. Interesting leadership lessons from General. If I can say names today, General Grant. Man, I can't. I'm so tired, guys. But good. Yeah, I think so. Oh, actually, perfect. I use OpenShot, and I've seen OpenShot on PC, and it works great. Another open source option. Yeah. I suppose PC users would use OpenShot. I think Davinci's for Mac only, but I'm not sure. I'm a huge history buff and recently been studying all the history of the lives of various saints. Fascinating, really. That's good. My mom's getting into that too, the lives of the saints as well. Prof is also interested in that too. Yeah, I'd even go for the first name, Ulysses. I know. Is it Ulysses or Ulysses? I don't even know now. I know. It's a different name, guys. So I'm terrible with actual historical figures. I need to read more on history, or I will be doomed to repeat it. I at least know that much. So, um, yeah, Another. I know this is to the prof, but I kind of want to put my 2 cents in. It's just that mine are a little too long and have a bunch of flubs in a row, and I need to take out, but keep the line that works. Yeah, absolutely. I have found that it depends on, of course, what the video is. So let's say you're doing a video, like a know-how video, because you know how to do a lot of great things that are they could be not random, but things that people don't really think about. I'm like, oh yeah, that really is good. Like your box video, like that's good. Save up space. I could see where you need to sound a little bit more rehearsed and sound a little bit like a quick tutorial, with maybe even with a script, reading off of a script. However, I noticed more people just like seeing people that look like them and talk like them, and even make those mistakes. I'm making mistakes just even speaking to you guys on the chat and not able to pronounce names and all that. And I think people like that. I think, and I am not that kind of person to tell you like, oh, this is what people like. I feel like that's a little manipulative. I think it's like, those influencers like, yeah, get people really started and really going. Oh, and be so relatable in this way. I'm not like that at all. But I think people just like just the natural speech in general. My editing happens because I can't stand the mouth sounds. The nice thing about StreamYard is it really does cancel a lot of that noise. If I wasn't using StreamYard, if I was using something like OBS, it would be, sibilants and syllabic and all the mouth sounds. I just don't like it all. All right. Yeah, don't worry about it, Melissa. I'm not scolding anyone for using those words. I just know that I know this platform is watching. It's just, I was listening to David Stewart's stream the other day, and he actually couldn't approve of certain comments because they had specific names. And I won't say the specific names now. And I'm not even talking about people, like actual individual people. I'm talking about groups of people. And he couldn't approve comments in the chat because, I'll just use one example, just one. But some comments that were talking about, in the historical sense, a group of people we know to be Jews. Those comments that included that people group were not, he could that afternoon, for some reason, he could not approve those comments to be in the chat. And so I just wonder, it's like, wow, this platform's getting really sensitive. And I'm very happy with my channel growth. I'm very happy indeed. I don't think I'm going to be a threat to anyone, but I still use this platform as a way of marketing my music and my craft. So I'm not towing the line, but I also want to say, hey, maybe we can, well, just lighten up just a tiny bit. Unless I'm actually talking about something political, and then it's only fair that you guys can have that input as well. Good, thank you. Shoaib Majawar. I hope I'm saying that name. Shoaib. That'd be awesome if you could tell me how to pronounce that name, because it's a really cool name. Davinci Resolve is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. That's good. That's good. It's got a nice interface, and it looks very comprehensive. I only drag the video in, drag the audio in. If your video has audio, it's gonna have that anyway for you. most of my, actually all of my audio is just done on Logic Pro, and then the video, and then voila. Jedi Masters Utopia says Grant's first real name is Hiram, if that helps. When he went to West Point, they misread his name. Really? And it became Ulysses. Ulysses. Is it okay? First of all, is it, the nuance, is it Ulysses or Ulysses? I don't know. One of the great stories in the book. Ulysses. Yeah. I know you guys are going to correct me. Yeah, that's a very interesting topic, Wolf 10. First video would be how to draw a straight line, because I'm tired of hearing I'm so bad at drawing, I can't draw a straight line. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, that's perfect. You know, especially if it's videos under, 5 minutes. I think I remember saying to you guys on stream one time, I wanted for one of my album covers to have a starscape, and I had a 7-day trial with Adobe. I think, what's the Adobe? Photoshop. And I wanted to know how to do a starscape, and there was this YouTube video under 2 minutes. This guy told you how to do a starscape with Adobe, and I thought that was just brilliant. And so if you could do that in a short time, I would say for very specific tutorials, do not ramble. When I'm doing SuperCollider, I have to be as succinct as possible. I do my very, very best not to do any filler, because sometimes my SuperCollider demos are 20 minutes anyway or longer, even with very specific points. If I'm troubleshooting, if something happens where I'm troubleshooting, I'll most likely, if it takes more than 2 minutes, I'll most likely edit that out. So I wouldn't ramble. I think commentary, like in the form of streaming, I think that's fine to ramble and have a good time. But if it's an actual tutorial, people will understandably lose interest. Just show them how to do a straight line. You can have some wit, you can have some humor if it's natural, only if it's natural. But don't talk about how it annoys you that people can't draw straight lines for 5 minutes. It's like, just tell me how to do a straight line, because that's how I would view the video. Like, okay, tell me how to do a straight line. Oh, okay. So some more dynamic poses. I'd like to try drawing some more action scenes this year. Cool. That's exciting. Peter Rosa, I have to get to bed, but thank you for the stream. Pleasure as always. Time to fall asleep listening to some ABBA or ABBA, because I wonder if that's an artist, because to me that's a musical structure. You've got an A statement, a B statement, and the B statement repeats, and then the A statement recapitulates. So, okay, so is it okay? So people are still so Netter's Ulysses. So are you nuancing? Are you attacking the first part of the name? I know this is what the stream is going to be known for, like how to say Ulysses. So let's see. Now I think I know. Let's see. I'm not spelling this correct as far as the pronunciation. Is it Ulysses or Ulysses? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. That's what I mean. Where the harder accent falls on the first syllable or the second syllable. Help, prof, help. I need you. Samuel Proctor is in the house, and he says the straight line stick figure comment is extremely annoying. That's funny. Thank you. Oh, wait. No, that's me. Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Yeah, I think I've heard of them. I'm gonna see what they are because it sounds very familiar. A Swedish pop group from Stockholm. Yeah, maybe. Oh, they did Dancing Queen. Them? Is that right? Okay. See, I don't know band names. Just know I barely know song titles. Like, who did this? Yep. All right. Oh yeah, I understand, Melissa. I'm sorry. I'm sorry people are going through really, really hard times. Um, I would say, I would say, unfortunately, it's not the way to take something down, so to speak. I'm not talking about destroying anything. I'm not talking about, defaming something in a vicious way, in a hostile way. But the way to really take something down, like let's say you think a mandate, for instance, is insidious or something's not right, something's not aligned with human dignity. Well, the way to take that down is actually not posting. It's not posting chat. It's completely ineffective. Now it may be cathartic to post, but it gets you into trouble. The way to take it down, to take something down, is through the art of argument with a person. Maybe it could be on a radio show, it could be on a podcast, it could be on a stream with two or more people. It could be in the way of writing a book or way of writing a story or some sort of nonfiction, and also the civil protesting, of course, we see on the streets, the civil protesting. Um, so the problem is when you vent on on chat or email or social media. Well, these giants are already at the point of censoring anything. So they would actually they don't even look at those comments, those kind of comments, that kind of venting those comments. They go immediately to their robots and to their computers to say, okay, computer, I'm giving you this parameter in quotes. You're going to look for this string of thing in quotes, and any comment, just completely remove it together. So the way to disrupt a system that you find to be insidious is through other modes that actually can't where it can't be detected by a computer, it can't be detected by a general sweeping of censorship. It's got to be something else. It's got to be to take something down, it has to be very effective. I don't suppose I know any other way besides the art of persuasion and persuasion, if I could say that, the art of persuading, or also the art of argument. Making argument an actual art. So, but I there's nothing wrong with getting personal, I would say. I mean, we in the community talk about things that we hold very dearly and very personally, and we discuss it on each of our individual channels. So there's nothing wrong about being personal, but how can we take what is personal to us and make it accessible to someone else, accessible to the other side? Meaning, how can we provide it in such a way that it still upholds human dignity? I think upholding human dignity and remaining steadfast in upholding human dignity would be the best way to take down something insidious. I don't know. I know that does sound really, really hard. And I'm sorry that you're going through a very hard Christmas. That's not nice at all. Yeah, I know. I probably knew that was the name of the band, but yeah, Mamma Mia, man, that song is stuck in my head. Thanks a lot, Al. You owe me $1. And then Take a Chance on Me is another one of theirs. I'm sure I've heard of that song. That doesn't sound familiar. Yeah. I would say if you guys actually let's talk about this. Okay, going back and forth between Melissa and Wolf 10 talking about the platform. I wanted to do something tonight. I didn't really prepare for it, but I did want to talk about what we may be expecting for this year, if you guys don't mind. Well, let's talk about some things. Okay, let's talk about. We're not going to use this lovely platform's name, this lovely name we call YouTube. We're going to say iPipe from now on, okay? At least for the remainder of the video. So, I know it sounds ridiculous. Do you guys like iPipe or me pipe? I'm looking for me pipe. Okay, so I may do a commentary video on this if I feel like it, if I dare. I might do a stream on this as well. But, iPipe is actually having some very new ways to regulate and finding ways to regulate and boost, grossly, disproportionately boost views and I gotta be careful saying it without being so political, but they are pretty much declaring their ideology getting into this next year. Now, I'm going to stay on iPipe for as long as they'll have me. I mean, you guys have heard me talk about JP, Awake with JP. He does satire on current events, and he's got probably 1.5 million subscribers, and they have not taken him down. I am so surprised that iPipe has not even tried taking JP down. I don't think they dare, because they would have a big stink. But the way iPipe is, the way they're going to monetize in the future, the way they're going to have comments removed, and the way they're going to modify comments is actually quite scary. One thing that they're doing is they're adding a feature where you really have to act as a YouTube host. You have to be active in seeing what has remained hidden for your approval. So sometimes if you guys say something on my comment, now I do music, so it's really only talking about music, but let's say I do commentary on something that could possibly talk about the ideologues. Regarding art, for instance. Let's say something happens in Star Wars, and it's like, this is a representation of this kind of ideology. Well, if a comment if there's like a list of comments and there's a discussion in the comments, it could be where your comment is hidden. I won't even know. That's how weird. That's how nefarious it is. iPipe is trying to say, hey, we're going to hide these comments from you because we don't want those comments to hurt your feelings. I'm a big girl. I've got a spine. Let me see where I'm being attacked or what idea is being attacked. And if I think it's inappropriate, I will remove it. I have no problem removing comments where I think it's inappropriate. That's not censorship. That's just me saying, no, I'm not going to abide by these words. I'm not going to abide by this language. I'm not going to abide by, bullying or something like that. If I see someone use very strong language or use very inappropriate language for me and my personhood, no, I'll do that, but I'll do that as the host. I don't want some computer entity deciding that for me, so that's one thing that they're looking into this next year. The next thing is they're really hamming up, and not even hamming. They're really moving forward, the impetus of the ideology that we're seeing in Hollywood and the academics and stuff like that, they will effectively be, if they're not already, they will effectively be an editorial platform before long, probably into this next year, 2021. Now, what does this mean for me, for Sound Engraver? Well, I'm going to still stick around because I'm doing music, and that's not anything threatening. And it's going to garner the most views. It's going to garner the most comments. It's going to garner the biggest audience for me, for my music, and for my writing. That's just common sense for me to continue going. Unless iPipe does something that really sunders it for me, where I just cannot go on with a good, clean conscience, and I have to start from scratch, then I would move on to something else, like a website, another video platform, and all of that. Now, having said that, I might consider other platforms. I've been looking last week, before going to see the prof. I've been looking last week to other video platforms and other alternative social media. The alternative to Twitter, the alternative to iPipe. And I will say this: I am not going to go to those alternatives until I have a big library. Well, I do have a library of videos I can just kind of move over. But I will say this: you're starting from scratch if you completely get off this platform, if you completely get off Twitter, if you completely get off Facebook. Facebook, I'm really having a hard time with by my own conscience, but that's another story. If you completely remove yourselves off of these major social platforms, just know you are starting from scratch. So if you want an audience for your art, for instance, if your art has nothing to do with political commentary, you will not have the audience. This could be good for entrepreneurs. This could be good for that entrepreneurial spirit. Like, oh, well, maybe I'll be the biggest channel for electronic music on this platform because no one doing electronic music is on this platform. That's a good reason to go onto that platform while maintaining this platform, maintaining your content on this platform. But just know that no one's thinking, like no normal, ordinary person, your average Joe, no one's thinking of going to these platforms yet. It would have to be a huge, huge scandal, like something monumental to shake up the world and move away from iPipe. Now, iPipe is actually doing this on its own. So, of course, there's been this massive migration of a lot of people who have been silenced and are moving on to other platforms because they have no choice. But even the major players on the independent journalism, for instance, even they have a smaller window to work from because they it's a matter of friction, guys. People are just used to going on this platform. So what I would recommend if you're thinking about this going into this next year, because I'm thinking about doing this into this next year. We'll see how it goes. Still staying on this channel, of course. But if I were to go on another video platform or another platform for social media, for instance, I am not leaving the major giants. Maybe I'm not as active as much, but I think for this platform, I will be for my videos. But I can't just say, see ya, because one, I'm not a threat. They're not going to take my stuff down. I can't see how I would be such a threat. I am considered an underrepresented. Am I saying that word right? I'm so tired today. I'm underrepresented. Is that how you say that word? I can't even say that word. It just sounds so weird. But look at me. I'm female. Okay. So I don't think I'm too much of a threat. I'm a female in electronic music, dang it. I'm not a threat. In fact, people would probably say, oh, we got to boost the women in electronic music. So I'm not going to be a threat for a very, very, very long time. I might talk about my Christian faith. That might, raise some eyebrows, but I'm not going to be a threat for a very, very long time. So I would stay here while moving on to other stuff and putting stuff on these other platforms. I think it's a good call to begin looking at that, but do not think you will garner an audience like you can garner one on this platform. Unfortunately, maybe 5 years down the road, maybe when this platform becomes so entrenched in its ideology, maybe people are going to like, I don't need this. I don't need this in my movies. I don't need this in my TV shows. I don't need this on my social media. I don't need this on this iPipe platform. So I'm gonna move on. But I don't see a huge migration. I'm talking about normal people, like just around the world. I don't see a migration going until probably 5 years down the road. Something dynamic would have to go. Some movement would just, or some event, some historical event would just have to ramp it up and have, something on this platform would have to have so much regulation and so much, I'm about this, I'm for this group of people, I'm not for that group of people. iPipe would really have to be so direct and so in your face. And they kind of are. They're getting there, but people are just kind of ignoring it. That's the thing, is people are ignoring it and going to their favorite YouTube videos. But give it time. I think in the next 5 years, this platform is going to be the strictest editorial you've seen. And what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. It's going to be like news outlets, guys. So, you know how we have our news outlets, and you have news outlets that are way to the right, way to the left, somewhere into the middle, into the left. Well, this is your right. This is my left. Your left. So center to the left is the news outlets. We've got one major outlet that is majorly, predominantly conservative, a lot that are more moderate left and extreme left. We see that with our news outlets. That's going to be the same with social media. Notice if you guys look at alternatives, let's say alternative to Twitter, for instance, I think is Parler. People are going to say, oh, this is where the conservatives go. It's like, well, yeah, because you're censoring the conservatives. So what? So what if this is a conservative platform? We didn't have our fair shake on Twitter. Not me. I just talk about music. But that's the thing. Social media is actually going to become like a news outlet. So this platform in about 5 years is going to be strictly left-leaning. So the other platforms will be moderate or to the right. It's just the way the ball bounces, unfortunately, these days. I just want to talk about music, I don't want to talk about politics on my channel. Even my commentary that deals with art, it's just commentary that deals with art. Yeah, I could talk about history. It could talk, the history of art, or the history of philosophy. Sure, I'm open to talking about that on my channel, but in a form of discussion, not in the form of just infotainment. So anyway, here I would say if you guys are looking at other alternatives, just know you're not going to have the audience you will have it on this platform. If you're fine with that, you're fine with that, and that's cool. But to get your art out there, you'll need this platform before migrating over to the other platforms, or do it simultaneously. So let's say you have a library of commentary videos for this platform, and then switch it over, transfer it over to a place like BitChute, for instance. There's another one called Odyssey. The interface looks really elegant, but there's just nothing on there. Like, there's this composer I was looking at. He's one of just maybe a handful of electronic music composers, and he's getting like, for pretty well produced videos, he's getting about 3 to 5 views a day. And they've just started. These platforms have just started. So anyway, food for thought. Melissa says, my New Year's goals is getting a new house and car. That's huge. That's huge. I hope something turns up. That'd be wonderful. For a more comfortable home, if you are looking to that. My area is actually already getting a little bit more rowdy. I've been in rural country the last 5 days, and I'm getting rather fond of that. It's all quiet, no neighbors, no loud music. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Frank Gilmartin says they've declared more than their ideology. They've straight up declared war on dissidents. Well, that's what ideology is, but just being active in their ideology. Yeah. Copyright on songs, Melissa, I think for mine is I think I just clicked that again. I recommend you getting patients and copyrights on your songs. I think for electronic music, if you release it, that's effectively copyright. And not only that, I have a backlog of all of my projects as far as times when these projects started. So unless it's a huge project, I did a Library of Congress for one of my songs. It was like $50, and it was for this song I produced for a radio musician over in London. That's about a couple years ago. Yeah, a couple Aprils ago. And that I did for copyright, but it wasn't popular enough for anyone to steal it. But effectively, I do have a copyright once it's produced, once it's made, especially once it is released. Yeah, I was looking at Rumble as one of the features. It is you're monetized right away, but I mean, you got to have so many views to get a good portion. And that's the thing is like, I'll look into Rumble, maybe Odyssey, some others, just to get in the know. But the thing is, what iPipe is so effective in is the search engine. The search engine. So these platforms have to get really on point as far as search engine. You can't do so. Like I look at ambient electronic music, and then I get these weird videos and these thumbnails. It doesn't look clean, doesn't look nice, doesn't look professional. So they need that professional search engine, search optimization quality before they can really get the normal person, the person just looking for entertainment. I hope Rumble and all these do begin getting much more traction in the years to come. They will get traction in the years to come if they keep at it. And if they probably need to accept donations for better bandwidth, better much more manpower. They're going to contend with something like this platform. They're going to need just a lot of support, both financial and also volunteer work. All those things. Remember, this platform is not just a free platform. It's all right, guys. I think internet is down. If you guys can hear this, I'm frozen. So I hope I'm not frozen now. But my internet was quite spotty. So I don't think it's the platform. So anyway, I better behave. But no, my internet it just went out for a couple of minutes. So anyway, hopefully you guys hear me. Okay, I can hear and see you now. I move. I could be seen. So anyway, so that's just food for thought for you guys. Yeah, Mr. Freeze got me. So anyway, let's look at some comments before I freeze again. I'm glad that was temporary. I just don't know what my internet was doing. Wolf 10 says, yep, that's my primary goal, being an online entrepreneur at some point. To be honest, I'd rather regret ever doing it rather than regret never attempting it. Oh, ever doing it. So you mean that you would, well, don't regret it. There's nothing to regret. You just do it. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But no, you don't regret that it doesn't happen, but certainly don't. If if you got that itch, you just gotta pay it some mind. And okay, something happened. my screen flashed a black screen for a second, so hopefully it's okay. But if it doesn't, then I'll wish you guys good night. Could be Christmas, could be New Year's, could be like all that. Wolf 10. Oh, please, Sound Engraver. Your niceness is a threat to them. They can't handle nice and positivity, remember? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just smiling, right? I'm innocent. Melissa says, I personally prefer art and music. That's me too. Wolf 10 says, maybe one day I want to move to a rural town where everyone treats you like family, traditional values, and patriotism. Guys, that's if you do lean one way politically, and we're not being political on this channel, you got to actually see your political demographic with the county or with the how the state is divided. Notice it's like cities one way and rural another way. Or small towns another way. So you kind of have to be mindful of that. I don't know what that means, Wolf 10, so I'll just keep it on the chat. Oh no, she mentioned other online services. They hurt her. I know. No, actually, it was my internet. So unless people of the internet land didn't like that, then that's all good. But it's kind of a light chat today. I said my goals, so that's all I wanted to say. So it's 11:33. I think what we'll do is just kind of plug in. I still have to unpack or just clean up a little bit, and then I do want to spend some time writing tonight. But yeah, I had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas with the professor. It was great, and I was with his family for most of the time, and it was just fabulous. It was just I couldn't have asked for a better Christmas, and it's the first, hopefully. Depends on what the prof wants. But yeah, it was a very, very Merry Christmas. Missed you guys on streams and all that, hearing your voices, but it was also nice to be away from social media just for 5 days straight. So that's happy to be back into the groove as far as working and writing and producing music. But it was a nice break. Days just seemed longer. They just seemed much fuller. So anyway, let's see. I will do. Samuel Proctor says, internet problems? Psh, that's what they want you to think. Yeah. I wonder if they can tamper with my IP and all that. They're like, okay, this is the IP number. We're gonna switch off her internet for a few seconds, having her believe it's the internet, but we're trying to silence her. Guys, I've got Just about 1,100 people subscribe to my channel. I am a small fish in the pond. Wolf 10, just for clarification, I mean, if I hit a low point, then I'd rather the former, because cause would lead to appreciate ever doing it after feeling regret ever doing it. Yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. You always want to look back and say, I did this, it didn't work. You always want to try some new things, test it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, I never, I've done many things that just doesn't, that don't work. I'll try something. Maybe it's an employment opportunity. Maybe it's a teaching opportunity, whatever the case may be. And if it just doesn't turn out, if it doesn't work, it doesn't faze me, because I've done so many of those projects where, okay, that didn't work, move on to something else. And I think that's a healthy mindset to have. So when something does stick, it's like, wow, this is great. Yes, Professor, the first Christmas of many, many more together. I agree. Yep. It was kind of a sad drive home. We were getting a little sappy. Melissa Harris says, good night and Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you too, Melissa. It's Agent Boomer. I just finished your stream, your and Troy's stream. That was fun. You guys seem to have a lot of laughs at this one. Apparently everyone loves Wonder Woman 84, right? Everyone. All right. So why don't we plug away some stuff? You're going to watch the Death Star blow up this New Year's? Are you talking about the ball dropping in New York? Are they still doing that this year? I don't know. I'm just going to have a relaxing evening at home, probably call some people and then write. Yeah. So anyway, let's plug some stuff. Now, this might be a different week to all the other weeks, because it's still being a holiday week. So we've got something going on on the Catholic Bible Geek channel tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We've got our book study, right, Prof? I think we've got you and Big Al going on the first 5 chapters of The Horse and His Boy, which is the third book, chronologically speaking. The Horse and His Boy, the third book of the Chronicles of Narnia. I think the first 5 chapters. I read the whole book, so I am so caught up with my reading. Those are very short reads. Oh, man. You know what? I'll be right back. I'll show you what I got. A stocking stuffer. I got a stocking. The prof gave me some stuff, and let me show you what he gave me as one thing in my stocking, if I can find it. 1 second. All right. So I think you saw that, right? So one of the stocking stuffers was Kenobi. Big, thick book. And I told him I might not have time to read it because I have the physical copy, and I like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to probably read it for his Professor Geek book study going into this next year. So yeah, is that nice? It's a really nice cover. John Jackson Miller. Yes, it does have the legend stamp, but whatever. It's still the same. It's not the same, but it's the same book. Yeah. Yep, I like it. And we got the Tatooine homestead, of course. So yeah, that was part of my stocking. That was hilarious when I pulled it out and unwrapped it. I just started laughing. All right, so we've got the Catholic Bible Geek book study, The Horse and His Boy, for tomorrow with the Prof and Big Al Presents. That's not true. Is that true? Interesting. I'm just kind of hearing it, word and edgewise. Yeah. All right. So I think that's all for Tuesday. But actually, Wolfton, are you doing anything for Tuesday's stream? Are you doing your Wolf WCR Wolf Commander Rambles? If you're doing that, just go ahead and say the time, the day and time of the week, and the topic. If you're doing something tomorrow afternoon, I'll be busy tomorrow. I need to get caught up on a few teacher projects while I have the week off. Don't really want to do it, but I got to be responsible. And then I'm going to just be writing for the rest of the week. And then Wednesday, we've got Green Lion Girl with her gaming stream. I don't know if she's on the chat. I think she might be. Yeah, I did forget to change my icon. Thanks, Wilton. But what was I saying? Green Lion Girl with her gaming. I don't know what game she is on, but she will be. I'm sure she's doing something Wednesday night. Also, soundtracks Birdman with Batman Returns, I believe, with the prof. So Daniel Heron, Aged Boomer, and the professor himself, which will be fun. I feel like I'm missing someone else on Wednesday night, but I think that's it. And going into Thursday, I think the professor's doing a Gospel of John study. It might be up in the air, but I thought there was going to be a rewatch on Troy's channel as well. Oh, actually, I see it right up here with Netter. Troy will have a rewatch of It's a Wonderful Life on his channel on New Year's Eve, 9 p.m. and Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Wonderful. That will be great. And I believe that's everything for Thursday, right? He confirms, yes. Oh, thank you, Netter. You posted that again. Great. Thank you for. I was looking up and I saw it. Now I see that you posted it again. All right. So that's good. Is that everything for Thursday? I hope Fan Man's doing something. Maybe he's doing something this New Year's week. That'd be fun. I don't suspect he's doing anything Friday night, though. If he's doing anything, it'll probably be the second Cup Cafe, which I really do like. He might even have one tomorrow and Thursday. So be on the lookout for his channel. If he has second Cup Cafe, it's either Thursday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And that's usually 10 Central, 11 Eastern time. So there you go. And beginning after the 12 days of Christmas, we will start at 10:15. Why 10:15? What's up with the 15? And the first 5 chapters, how much? I'm going to look. I have the copy now. How much is that? Oh, good. That's a good reading. One second. Shouldn't be doing this live, but I am. I'll let you. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's up to page 58 for me. And then the last sentence, and then nothing. But I didn't read what came before that. So good. Anything happening Friday? And also, Big Al, are you still around? Is your computer still working? I can't remember what he was doing Saturday. Big Al was doing something Saturday, but I can't remember. All I know is it's on Big Al Presents channel at 10 p.m. Eastern time, Professor Geek time. But of course, all this can be seen, all this can be announced, all this can be viewed on the Professor Geek Facebook group page. And yeah, I think that will be good to go. Wolf10 says, if I do New Year's stream, it'll have to be another fun stream where people can list topics they want my 2 cents on. Very good. Now, I would say, I'm just throwing it out there, guys. Streams are fun. Streams are, I think, necessary. But commentary, fixed commentary, or tutorials or demos or something like that. That's what people want. In order to grow your channel, that's what people will be after. Okay. I feel like I'm rambling now, so we're coming up on the 90-minute mark. So I think that will be all. I'll just let you guys have a few more seconds on your comments, but I'd like to just kind of unwind after some traveling. And the Bible study will end at 10 on the Catholic Bible Geek channel. Good, good, good. Samuel Proctor says he's ready for the Kenobi series. Yeah, I'm ready too now that I have the physical copy. Yeah, that's great. So anyway, I think I'll stop there, guys. So until I see you next, sound experimentation. I don't know what I'm doing this Thursday, but always be on the lookout for some sound experimentation every Thursday. Some live commentary, of course, every Monday nights. And until I see you next, keep producing the art you guys love. I haven't done this. Okay, let's try this again. Until I see you next, keep producing the art you love, and I will catch you later. Thanks again. Have a wonderful New Year's.